Hi, I'm Greg from the Scary Spirits Podcast. Today, I'm going to show you how to make the Lightning Bolt Cocktail, which is the featured cocktail in today's episode. Right, we're going to start with a rocks glass with ice. To that, we're going to add 3 parts bourbon, or 1.5 ounces. Then we're going to add half an ounce Amaretto or Di Serono, my favorite. Half an ounce, roughly. Next, we're going to add 1 ounce sour mix. Like so. And we're going to add 3 ounces of citrus soda. Squirt, Sprite, or 7-Up. 3 ounces. 1.5. 1.5. Next, we stir. And enjoy. Smells good. A little bourbony. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm not a bourbon guy, and the bourbon's not overwhelming. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
You and I can chat about lightning bolts and electricity all day long. We can even research which country has the most lightning strikes. It's Singapore. We can dive deeper into energy and power, throwing around terms like joules, amps, and volts. But Greg, as a home haunter, only wants you to know and pay close attention here. It's the amps that'll kill you. So this week, you get to listen to Greg drop this important piece of electrical information, repeatedly, in episode number 31 of the Scary Spirits Podcast, Frankenstein. Watch out for those amps.
Welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg.
Hi, I'm Karen.
And welcome to the Scary Spirits Podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different but highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I'm fabulous.
Greg's had a day.
Yeah. But it makes me fabulous. So maybe I should have a day every day. All right, Karen, I don't think we have any errors or corrections.
No, we probably do, like I said, but
from last
let's
week's
just go with
episode.
We don't.
Last week was The Curse of Frankenstein, right? The Hammer film.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we crushed that.
That's how I remember
as usual.
But I believe, Karen, this week was your choice. Was it not?
It was.
And what film have you chosen for us this week, Karen?
That sounded rather aggressive. I chose the Universal film Frankenstein from 1931.
1931, you say?
No, I don't remember it.
I don't
In
know.
fact, I'm not sure my dad even remembers 1931.
No, I know my mom doesn't. She reminded me today she was born in 39.
Wow. She's a youngin'.
Yep. Why might you have chosen this film, Karen? Any reason? Or are we just doing the Frankenstein thing? Comparing
Pretty
and contrasting?
sure. I think we're just doing the Frankenstein thing. I don't know. Is it Boris's birthday or something?
Son of a bitch. Funny you should ask. Yesterday, November 23rd, was Boris Karloff's birthday.
I want a bell for that. Thanks.
Happy birthday, Boris.
Absolutely.
Wherever you may be.
I hope we don't have to apologize to Boris after this.
Yeah, me too. Are you ready for Thanksgiving, Karen? It's tomorrow, you know.
Thanksgiving's my favorite meal.
Is it?
It is.
Anything particularly you enjoy about Thanksgiving
No,
meals?
I just like every single thing that gets served. And I
Do
like
you
it.
usually go to someone in your family's house?
No, we usually make it here.
Okay.
Since my mom passed, we kind of, sometimes my dad comes up or sometimes, my sister's been, it depends. We spend
so basically
Christmas
you
together.
cook it then, right?
We cook it. Yeah.
We cook it.
Yeah.
Is that like we killed a bear, but dad shot it? That's something my mom always said. Yeah.
The royal we.
Yes.
That's probably true. Yeah.
You can't see me, but I'm doing air quotes. We killed it. Yeah,
I don't cook much of it.
Okay.
I orchestrate it. I buy all the supplies. I make sure everything's there.
Do you have like staples? Like you always have every Thanksgiving?
Oh yeah. I don't let him change it. And he gets mad.
And what is your menu?
My Thanksgiving menu?
Yes, I want to know.
Turkey, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, burnt bottom rolls.
There you go.
And mashed potatoes. Did I say that already?
Yes, you did.
Stuffing, plain, not that clam or anything crazy like that. Just the regular.
Is that it?
Pumpkin pie. Yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, that's it. Cranberry sauce. Homemade cranberry sauce. Yeah, there's only 4 of us.
Okay, I don't know.
Well,
we usually go to my wife's family's house. And
do they go crazy?
Well, yeah. She always, makes turkey, of course. And we always have rolls because she knows I love rolls. Corn, like cream corn kind of stuff. It's good stuff. Yams or sweet potatoes, with the marshmallow crap in there. Salad, stuffing. I don't like stuffing, but they eat it.
You don't like stuffing?
She better have mac and cheese if she knows what's good for her.
Wow, that is a lot. Yeah.
And did I say salad?
You did.
Sometimes she has coleslaw too, which I enjoy as well.
You don't do the green bean casserole?
I don't think she does that. No. Well, I wouldn't know because I wouldn't eat it anyway.
Oh,
I don't think that's an option. And then we usually have like various pies and cakes and ice creams for dessert.
Holy moly.
She buys like those single serving like pies, like slices.
Oh.
Is it Mrs. Edwards that sells those?
I don't know.
She usually buys various, kinds. And
I do make
a couple
the
different kinds of ice cream we can choose from.
Yeah, I should say I do make the pies.
When I was a kid, we used to go to my aunt and uncle's, and my aunt would always make peanut butter pie.
Nice.
But we can't do that with Jamie around, can we?
Oh, yeah.
So I haven't had peanut butter pie since my aunt passed. So it's been a while.
When I would go to, sometimes when I was in college or grad school, my brother Louis would host it, and Melissa and her mom would cook. And they would have as many full-size pies as there were people there. It was ridiculous.
I like pecan pie too. Usually she has pecan pie. That's usually what I have.
I do like pecan pie.
With maybe some Cool Whip. and ice cream.
Both?
Well, yeah, it's Thanksgiving.
Jeez Louise.
And then there's football.
Yeah, we do watch football.
All right.
So if anyone out there has any really unique Thanksgiving dishes that you think we should try, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com.
Or any traditions that, you think are weird. I'd be interested in hearing them.
We don't have any weird Thanksgiving traditions. We got a lot of Christmas ones going on, as you well know.
Yes, I suppose.
Well, you've participated.
Well, that's not all that weird.
How many other people do you know that do it?
You're the only one that has ever
See?
had me do that stuff.
Okay, unique. It doesn't have to be weird, just unique.
I didn't say weird. You did.
I think you did.
I don't know. I'll see in the edit.
Okay.
All right, Karen, Frankenstein from 1931, the universal version, correct?
That's correct.
In celebration of Boris Karloff's birthday. Might you have a brief synopsis for this film?
I'll read that while you look up how old is Boris this year, or would he have been?
Good question.
Frankenstein, 1931. Boris Karloff is the screen's most memorable creature in the story of Dr. Frankenstein, who tampers with life and death when he pieces together salvaged body parts to create a human monster.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Boris would have been 134 years old this year.
Wow.
I know, right?
Well, I know he was like in his 40s when he made this, I
That
think.
makes me feel old.
So,
Well, he was born in 1887. So
which is crazy, right? It's crazy.
134 years. Yeah, crazy.
Well, I still think 30 years ago was 1970. So,
Yeah, I keep thinking 20 years ago was 1980. So you're talking about the 80s were only 20 years ago.
It's all about how it feels.
I suppose. Do we have a cocktail for this movie, Karen?
Yes, we do have a cocktail, and it's a tasty one.
Oh, do tell.
It's called the Lightning Bolt.
Lightning bolt. That's wicked clever, Karen.
Yeah, well. So you're going to need bourbon, amaretto, sour mix, and citrus soda. Sprite 7-Up. Or I'm not loving this recipe. They said Squirt. We used to drink Squirt at my grandma's house.
Yes, I haven't seen Squirt in a while now that you mention it.
Yeah, I don't know if they still make it or not.
I'm sure they do. I wonder if Mellow Yellow would be acceptable.
Maybe.
Or is that more like Mountain Dew?
That's
Not
more like
really a
Mountain Dew,
citrus.
I think. So you're going to take 3 parts bourbon, 1 part amaretto, 2 parts sour mix, and 6 parts citrus soda. Pour them over ice, stir, serve, and
Enjoy, Karen.
yes,
Should we give our listener a few minutes to make theirs?
absolutely.
Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
I do like this one. Not to get ahead of ourselves. We will talk about the drink later. But I do like this one.
It's a nice change of pace from the last one.
I put mine in a rocks glass, Karen. I don't think it said what you should put it in. But I kind of measured, well, if I'm using each part as a half an ounce, I figured how many ounces. And that pretty much fits perfectly in a rocks glass with ice.
It does.
But I would have a...
Collins glass.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Of that.
Well, there's no restraints. If you want to make more, make more. If you want to make less, make less.
You don't have to make your part a half an ounce. You can make your part 1 ounce if you like, right?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want. You be you. All right, Karen, you ready to get into this?
Let's go.
All right, Frankenstein from 1931. Did you watch the Blu-ray or whatever?
I couldn't get my player to work, so I had to watch it on Amazon.
Yeah, so did I.
I don't know what happened.
Even though I bought
frustrating.
it for you. So, you
I know, it was so nice. And I was ready and I queued it up,
I didn't watch mine either.
but I had to take Dracula out of it because that's the last one I watched on the DVD player.
Yeah.
That one worked fine, but
The
I
Blu-ray,
couldn't get it.
Karen, the Blu-ray. It's a Blu-ray.
I'm sorry. Isn't it a Blu-ray DVD?
Well, yeah, but they are Blu-ray discs. So
All right. Well,
that's why I couldn't watch it in my computer with my DVD player. So I also watched the Amazon Prime version. Did yours pop up with smoking, alcohol use, foul language, and violence as warnings, Karen, when you started watching it?
it did. And I'm starting to think that's just
It's rated PG-13, it
a
said.
catch-all. I don't think they individually typed those things in because, again, I didn't hear any swearing.
Yeah,
Did
once
you?
again, I don't remember any foul language. Yeah, you're right. Everything else they did, but
Yeah,
I
pretty
don't remember
much.
foul language. And then we see a man on stage and he gives the audience a warning.
Yeah, he's well dressed. I think he's in a tux.
Basically says, I might shock you, horrify you, whatever.
Yeah, and if you can't take it, leave now.
Yeah, pretty much. He doesn't say that,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's what he implies. And then we have credits. And during the credits, when it gets to the cast of characters or the players, I think it says, on the monster, it says ?
I did see that.
Yeah, they don't even say it's Boris Karloff, do they?
Not yet. No,
Well, do they later?
they do at the end. He
At
gets
the end?
credit.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
But now it's a mystery.
Yes. Then we open on a funeral or burial scene, correct?
Yes, they're in the cemetery and there's crying.
Yeah, and the bells are chiming. I tried to count them, but I lost count. And then we see your favorite character peering over a fence, don't we, Karen?
My favorite character.
Yeah, your favorite Universal horror actor. Don't you like Dwight Fry?
No, I like Bella. Wait, it's Dwight Fry.
He's the guy who plays Fritz in this, and he plays Renfield and Dracula, and he played that other dude in
He played in Bat.
Vampire Bat or something.
Vampire Bat. Well, I recognized him, but yeah. Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, I thought he was your favorite. My mistake. Sorry.
He's very wide-eyed.
Yeah. Then a man with squeaky boots begin to bury the casket. I wrote. Did you notice the squeaky boots squeaked every time he walked?
I just noticed everyone left except the gravedigger.
So he walks around in his squeaky boots and buries the casket. And the x-ray said that they had a mic inside the casket, so you could really hear the sound of the dirt hitting the casket, which I did notice. It was good. So after that, he finishes and fires up his pipe.
Did you see that?
Yep, there's the smoking.
Yeah, and he lights the match on his shoe.
Yeah, as you
Have
do.
you ever done that? You've done that?
Not on my shoe. I have lit them on my zipper before. Which, kids, don't try that at home. That can be dangerous.
Not a good idea. At least not upwards towards your face. He just kind of threw his foot back there, struck the match, lit the pipe. It was pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
All in one
do.
motion,
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I never smoked, so I don't know that.
So he leaves, and then Fritz and Henry begin digging up the grave, or who we learn is Fritz and Henry, right?
Yeah, we don't know it yet, but it's Henry Frankenstein and Fritz is his assistant.
But it's not Victor Frankenstein.
I just couldn't say assistant. I just would assist. Yes. No, it's Henry Frankenstein.
Because in the Hammer film, it's Victor Frankenstein.
Right. And in the novel, I think it's Victor also. I think it is. Yeah.
So then they take the casket out and they put it on a cart and begin to wheel it away. And on their way to wherever the hell they're going, they stop and cut down a man that is hanging from a gallows.
What luck.
Yeah. I guess they want his brain. I don't know. Is he some fucking genius or something?
I don't know, because they say his neck is broken, so his brain is useless. But what's wrong with the brain in the body they just took?
I don't know.
I don't get that.
I don't either. But apparently the brain in the body that I just took isn't good enough. Maybe it's already been embalmed or something. Maybe that's why. Did they do embalming? Well, what do you think this film takes place?
Well, I don't know. I was trying to figure that out.
Because later the townspeople are all in lederhosen, but then when there's an angry mob, I see guys in like 30s looking suits with hats and shit.
Well, one clue is so they take down the man that was hanging. They take him with them, right? Do
Yes, I
they?
guess. Yeah,
Okay.
somehow. Or his head anyway. Or no, the guy that was hanging.
Yeah. Do they leave him or do they take him?
They say the brain's no good, so I probably think they leave him.
Well, you would think he's been hanging there. It wouldn't be any good. But anyway, so
Well, that's what he says, right? The neck is broken. The brain is no good. Says.
So they cut to the professor talking about the brains in the medical school. And the only reason I'm pushing you a little to that point is you were asking when this takes place. And I was trying to figure it out.
And they're at the Goldstadt Medical College,
which has women in the classroom.
Well, a couple. I made a note. There's like 2 of them.
So I looked it up and just to see. And in 1850 was the first woman was allowed into medical school in Geneva, New York.
Okay.
So it's got to be after 1850, presumably.
Yeah. It's well after that because, like I said, some of those town people were wearing 1930s suits. They look like gangsters.
Well, and yeah, the fashion is definitely 30s.
But that doesn't mean this is when that takes place. Is that what you're saying?
Right. I don't know.
Okay.
But when the professor finishes
there are no vehicles.
He finishes his speech about his lesson. He says, "Thank you, gentlemen. The class is dismissed." I thought, well, wait a minute. There's women in there, but
yeah. But they're at the Goldstadt Medical College, and they're doing a dissection for a class, right? And
well, he's talking about the differences, yeah.
But there is like a hanging skeleton.
Yeah, I don't think they really needed
and
that.
And it kind of bounces, and
yeah,
and they all giggle. I made a note. It's humor. Yeah, then he goes to talk about the normal brain versus a criminal brain.
There's 2 glass jars, each containing one brain, and one brain is a nearly perfect brain, and the other one is from a criminal. And he's talking about the differences, and he's pointing at them.
Dysfunctional or something, isn't it?
I don't know.
But the difference in them is visually apparent, I think.
That's what he's trying to show them. Yes. There's more folds in the frontal lobe or something.
Right.
But
so next we see Fritz coming in through the window to grab a brain.
He's the assistant who was with Frankenstein, and they said that the man hanging from the gallows was no good. So he has broken into the classroom.
And he wants to grab the good brain. Right, Karen?
Well, yeah, as you would.
But he grabs it and he's startled by a loud bang and he drops it. So he picks up the dysfunctional one instead.
Well, he can't come back without one.
Yeah. Next, we meet Victor and Elizabeth.
They're in a very grand house.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's a real house or a set? Because it's gorgeous.
I don't know.
Big and bulky, it's a very large house.
Yeah. In the x-ray, it did mention some of the external shots in California.
It just looked awfully elaborate to be a set, but it could have been.
Yeah. Don't know. And Elizabeth begins to read a letter from Henry Frankenstein. And he, talks about how important his work is. And we learn that Elizabeth and Henry are engaged to be married, Karen.
It's kind of a rambling stream of consciousness letter where you can see he's a little on the edge there. And he's isolated and only his assistant is there to help him.
But Victor says that he saw Henry just a few weeks ago in the woods or some shit. walking alone in the woods. It was really weird. Like, what were they doing? And Henry told Victor that no one would be allowed into his laboratory to see what he was doing. I guess because Victor wanted to, hey, can I come see what you're up to? Can I see your latest work? And apparently Henry said, no one can see my work. And then I made a note that I think Victor likes Elizabeth, Karen.
I think Victor loves Elizabeth. But he kind of tells her.
Yes, he kind of does. So then Victor and Elizabeth try to find out why Henry left the university.
Well, they go to talk to his old professor who was close with him.
But everyone calls him doctor. I called him professor at first too. Then I start calling him doctor because that's what they keep referring to him
Well,
as.
most professors are either MDs or PhDs, so they would be doctors.
Yes, and the doctor tells them that Henry wanted fresh human bodies. The ones they used in the medical school for dissections were not good enough. He wanted fresh ones.
Yeah, they show the professor's office, which I thought was pretty funny because there's skulls all over the place. Just skulls. There's test tubes on the desk, like he's experimenting right there. There's some microscope, and the professor talks about Frankenstein just being brilliant, but becoming more and more erratic, that he wanted to do things outside the norms of what would be done at the university.
And he agrees to go with Victor and Elizabeth to try to stop Henry in whatever the hell he's doing. I don't even think they know at this point, do they?
Well, I think the professor says he's working with life and death, but he's only interested in human bodies, not animals. Yeah.
Right. Then we cut to Henry's lab, and there's a thunderstorm outside, Karen.
It's a crazy stormy weather.
And Henry tells Fritz, let's have one final test. We see a body like covered there, right? And there's all kinds of, what are those damn things called, Karen?
Switches?
No, those, balls that like generate electricity and you have sparks and all that shit. And like Tesla would use. What the hell are those things called?
I just said there's a lot of electricity.
And Fritz throws the switches. And then there's a knocking at the door, Karen.
Well, yeah, they said in 15 minutes, the storm's going to be at its peak. And they're all excited. And then there's knocking at the door.
Like,
the worst timing.
Who could that be now?
For visitors to show up. And it's a crazy, horrible storm. I mean,
And Henry tells Fritz to go send them away. So Fritz opens the
secret password door.
Tells them to go away. They cannot see Henry, and he shuts it. But they keep knocking, and they call up, Henry, Henry, Henry. And he comes to the window and says, yes, who is it? Who is it? What do you want? Who is it? It's my impression of Henry. And he tells them that, it's Victor and Elizabeth and the doctor. So he agrees to come down.
Well, he's going to turn them out into this horrible storm.
Yes. But Henry lets them in
shelter
because, they plead with him. They need shelter. And Henry tells them they must leave once he gets them in there. And Victor calls him crazy.
Yeah, that's his mistake.
Yes.
Because he's offended by that.
And he gets real serious.
Henry's offended, yeah.
Crazy am I? We'll see about that. Come on up to my lab.
Don't go with anyone who wants to show you something in their lab. I'm just going to throw that out there as advice.
So they go up to Henry's lab and Henry locks them in.
Not a good
sign.
sign.
In his pocket, just to be safe, he says, or something like that. And he has them sit down, but we don't see the doctor. And then we hear Fritz yell, "Don't touch that!" And he runs after the doctor. Apparently the doctor is like checking out the body on the slab. And then Henry tells the doctor that you taught us that ultraviolet ray was the highest color in the spectrum. Henry tells him he is wrong. He has discovered the great ray that first brought life into the world.
There you go. The great ray.
And of course, the doctor wants proof.
Yeah, he says he's reanimated animals and kept a human heart beating for 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
But the professor doesn't believe him.
Yes. Then Henry goes on to explain how he created the body from various parts he collected. It's not a dead body. It's a body that has never lived, Karen, because he created it from bits and pieces, right?
That's what he says.
He tells the doctor to see for himself. Then they watch as Henry raises the body above the lab to a hole in the ceiling, Karen. So it's exposed to the elements and the thunderstorm above.
And
the storm rages. He keeps him up there for a while and then he lowers him back down. I think this whole part was pretty anticlimactic, but whatever.
Really? I liked it. I thought it was.
I wanted to see like the,
Oh, like the big explosion.
Yeah. The sparks coming and.
It doesn't look like any lightning actually hits it. You're right. There's no moment when lightning hits. But
he lowers the body. And when he does, the monster's hands start to move, or his hand starts to move. And Henry says, "It's alive! It's alive! It's alive! In the name of God. Now I know what it feels like to be God." It's my impression of Henry.
That must be a pretty good feeling. Okay, so wait, I have a question for you. So a typical lightning flash is about 300 million volts and 30,000 amps.
Mm-hmm.
About 1 billion joules of energy.
Joules.
What's household current in volts and amps?
220?
120.
120 and typical, 120. But you do have your
and how
higher.
many amps?
Well, it's the amps that kill you. I do know that, but I don't know.
So the typical lightning flash is about 300 million volts, and household current is 120
120.
volts.
Yeah, but it's not the volts, it's the amps that kill you.
So 30,000 amps. This is an average lightning strike.
Okay, 30,000. Yeah, that's a lot.
Because it's 15 amps.
Yeah, not a lot.
Household.
I know that.
So that's a big old jolt.
Yeah.
And I got one more question for you. Okay. If you were going to do this, if you wanted a lightning bolt to hit something, do you know where in the world has the highest rate of lightning activity?
Where in the world? Do I know? Is that what you're asking?
Now you know how I feel when you ask me how much some car costs. You just got to pull something out of your ass now. Where in the world, Greg, if you were going to want lightning to strike your creature, where would you go?
I almost want to say the poles.
You
know what I mean? Magnetic north, magnetic south. I don't know.
Well, that might sound like it would work, but really it's
there's
Singapore.
Some reasoning behind that answer, right?
There's some reasoning, but the answer is Singapore.
Of course it is, Karen. Singapore. That's where all the lightning happens.
That's what they say. The highest rate of lightning activity. So anyone building their own creature, Singapore,
I think these people are in Germany or someplace, or
I think
Germanic country, because they keep throwing in a German word every now and then.
They do.
Like Herr and Frau. So then Victor and Elizabeth
go to visit Henry's father. Yeah.
Baron Frankenstein. And then the Burgermeister arrives, Karen.
I know, we know. We've been over this. He looks like the cartoon character. He's got the curly hair.
He does. Yeah, he does.
I wonder if that's where they took it from.
Might be. But he wants to know, when is the wedding?
The village is prepared.
Yeah, they're all waiting for the wedding. And then the Baron says he will go fetch Henry himself. He thinks there's another woman. He tells Elizabeth that.
The Baron's very elitist. He's not a very down-to-earth dude.
Then we see Henry smoking a Marlboro in the lab. And the doctor's there. And he tells Henry he wants the creature kept under guard, that he will be dangerous.
Yeah, Henry's feeling pretty good about himself.
Yes. But this is where he learns that the brain that was stolen was the criminal brain, not the normal
he's
brain.
Surprised by that.
Yeah. But he kind of blows it off. Like, whatever. It'll be fine.
The professor has a nice quote. He says, "You're young, my friend. Success has intoxicated you. Because when you're old, you realize that every success is not, it could be your last one. You're not going to be that successful all the time. With age comes wisdom." That's
maybe.
All.
Yeah. Then the doctor warns Henry that the monster will try to destroy him. Then we hear footsteps.
Yeah, which was weird. They're like, here he comes.
They're just like letting him roam around the house.
Guess. He's in complete darkness. And then Henry says, shh. It's almost like he says, shh, here he comes.
Turn out the light.
Right. Shh, he's coming. And he just walks in the room.
Yeah. Well, he backs into the room, Karen.
Oh, sorry.
So he can turn, and we have the dramatic reveal of his face, because this is the first time we see it. And they zoom in real quick on it for like a split second, and that's it. And Henry has the monster come in and sit down. Kind of like in The Curse of Frankenstein, he has him do tricks.
Basic commands.
Basic command. Come in, sit down, Well, Henry opens the door or whatever it is to the ceiling and lets light come in. And the monster reaches for the light. He wants to go to the light, Karen.
I thought it was kind of a sad moment. He was really reaching for the light because he's been in complete darkness all this time. It was kind of a heartfelt moment that the monster was reaching up for the warmth and the light.
Then Henry closes the door and the monster sits back down. Next, that damn Fritz comes in with a torch.
Because of course.
It's dark. And the monster is not pleased, I wrote.
No, he's scared of the fire.
Yes. Henry and the doctor knock the monster down and tie him up.
Well, Henry tells Fritz to get the torch away, and Fritz doesn't do it.
I know. But they take the monster to the cellar and chain him to the wall.
Yeah, he's pissed.
And again, Fritz is down there with his damn torch. And Henry tells Fritz to leave the monster alone, but he persists in teasing him with the torch.
Well, and he whipped him too.
Yeah, and he whipped him.
Fritz is an asshole.
He's going to get his in a minute.
Well, but he's an asshole. He's really not being nice. I mean, he's going above and beyond to tease and torture the monster.
Yeah. Next, we see Henry and the doctor back in the lab, and they hear Fritz scream. They go down to investigate, and we see Fritz hanging from a rope. He gone.
Yeah, he didn't strangle him or crush him. He actually hung him from a rope, which was interesting.
And the doctor tries to convince Henry they must kill the monster. Well, he does. They decide to lure him out, and the doctor's going to hit him with a hypodermic needle filled with sedative or some shit.
Yeah, they're going to tranquilize him.
So they do try that.
Well, their plan is a little flawed because they're going to open the door.
Yeah.
And when the monster goes towards Frankenstein, the professor's going to stab him in the back with the sedative. But Henry is holding a torch. So the monster's not going to come towards him because he's holding a torch. So they dance around a little bit, but they finally do jab him.
They struggle, but yeah, they do eventually jab him, and then he eventually collapses. It takes a while.
It does. I don't think they had enough. He's a big guy.
Yeah. And then Victor arrives and warns Henry that Elizabeth and the Baron are coming.
They're coming up the hill. I ran ahead to let you know.
Yes.
It's like, hurry up, clean up. It's like,
Mom and Dad are on their way.
Right. They're almost home. Get rid of all the beer cans.
That's right. Open the windows, turn on the fans.
So what if it's December?
So Henry and the doctor drag the monster back into the cellar and lock him in there. Then the Baron and Elizabeth knock on the door. The Baron's pretty funny.
He's just a cranky old man.
He is.
Did you feel him? Did you feel his character?
I feel him, yeah. And Victor lets them in. And then I made a note. The Baron has a large lump behind his right ear, Karen. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
They got like
see
a tumor or something back there. It's like a lump. I don't know. I thought you might notice that, Dr. Karen, and tell us what that ailment could possibly be.
A goiter?
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could be a tumor.
It's not a tumor. No, I don't know. I didn't see it. I was probably writing.
I could not see it once I saw it. So the doctor greets the Baron. He asks the Baron to take Henry away at once.
Well, they go to see Henry in his room or something, and Henry just collapses.
Well, as they're walking up the stairs, the Baron complains all the way about there's no banister. What's up? Wow.
See?
Is this the door?
That's what I mean. You were feeling him. You know who he is. We found Greg's part in the movie.
But they get up to the laboratory. They open the door, and Victor collapses. Or Henry, right?
Henry collapses.
Henry. See, I was thinking of
the other
Curse of
movie.
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Henry collapses. And Elizabeth calls the others to come help her. They put Henry in bed, and the Baron makes him take a drink because that's always what helps people.
It's brandy.
Is it brandy?
Yeah, they say, do you have any brandy? And they give him a brandy, and miraculously, he feels better.
Good. I thought it was water.
No, it was brandy.
Okay. And the Baron says he's going to take Henry away. And the doctor says he will destroy the monster after they leave.
Yeah, he says he'll take care of everything.
But does he, Karen?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, next thing I have written down is the doctor examining the monster.
Yeah, he's writing in his lab notebook. So he
Yes.
doesn't just go in and kill him.
No.
He because he has to be a scientist, he's
Yes.
going to examine him first.
Do you know what he writes in his lab notebook, Karen?
That he's going to dissect it. That's the
He
only part I
says,
saw.
Note, increased resistance,
Oh,
necessitating
yes.
struggle and more frequent injections. So he's been examining him for a while.
Yeah.
However, we'll perform dissection at once. That's what he writes.
Well, he's still alive.
Yeah. And then what does the doctor do, Karen? He doesn't
Well,
have one of those fancy antique stethoscopes, does he?
No. And he's not afraid to put his ear on a chest.
Oh, a monster.
Well, you would think this would be the perfect opportunity to use a stethoscope.
Yeah, one of those newfangled stethoscope things.
Yeah.
But he doesn't, Karen, does he?
No, he doesn't. He's right up in there.
He just puts his head on the chest of the monster. And what does the monster do, Karen?
Monster wakes up.
Yes, and strangles the doctor. He gone. Then the monster leaves.
Yeah, he just kind of ambles down the stairs, fully dressed, off the examination table, like an autopsy table, and walks
Yep.
out the door.
And we see Henry and Elizabeth having a picnic somewhere tropical, it looked like to me, Karen.
I think it was just their patio, wasn't it?
Yeah, but
Hey, do you know what kind of dogs they were with?
when you say it, I'll say, oh yeah, that's it.
Well, one of the reasons they're using these dogs is because these dogs were owned by aristocrats. So it's to show, again, wealth. Obviously, Baron Frankenstein has a lot of money. You can see it in the house. And but these dogs
And
are.
he's kind of the boss, even of the Burgermeister, right? The Burgermeister.
Yeah, it seems like everybody kind of.
You kind of get
bends
that
to
the
his
Baron
will.
really runs things in the town.
Yeah. The dogs are Borzois or
Oh.
Russian wolfhounds.
Okay. Yeah. If you had said a wolfhound, I was like, yep, that's it.
Russian wolfhounds, though. There are different
whatever.
types, but they're aristocratic dogs. So
Yeah.
it's just another way to show wealth. They just lay there. They don't do anything. They don't have any real
No.
plot points, but they're decoration. But
Yeah.
they're just to let you know, money, money, money.
And Henry smokes a Marlboro again.
He seems better.
Yeah, he does. He tells Elizabeth, it's like heaven being with you again.
Well, yeah, that's what people say.
And they decide to have their wedding soon. And at this point, I kind of thought, didn't Elizabeth have an accent earlier? Or a more pronounced one than she does now?
I didn't notice.
When we were talking about the wedding, I'm like, wait a minute, didn't she have an accent before? But maybe I'm wrong. So they decide to have their wedding soon. And then lo and behold, next scene, it's their wedding day.
Whoop, whoop.
And the Baron makes a toast to the son of the house of Frankenstein. Does that mean he wants a grandson?
I don't know. He says that a couple times. So probably.
And the villagers are all rejoicing, I wrote.
Because he goes out and tells them there's going to be a lot of beer.
Yep.
So
The
they're
Baron
all
gives them beer, and there was dancing in the street.
yes, it's a lot of beer.
Lots of lederhosen and
Definitely traditional
corsets.
costumes.
Is that what they call those? What the women wear? Corsets on the outside?
Probably.
Different on the outside. I don't know. Next, we see the monster walking through the woods, and we see little Maria. Her father's going away into town, leaves her there to play with her kitty.
No, he's going to check his traps, and then he's going to
Oh, yeah.
take her to town
That's
because
it,
that's
yeah.
where the party is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he leaves her alone. What do you think? She's 5, 4?
Something like that. Well, no, I'd say 5 or 6. But the monster happens upon Maria, and she asks him to play with her, and she gives him a flower. And the monster smiles. They throw flowers into the lake and they float. But when the monster has no more flowers to throw into the lake, what did he do, Karen?
He throws poor little Maria in the lake.
Yep. And I wrote, I think she gone.
Yeah, and he panics because
does.
he doesn't know what happened. You know, he expected her to float, I
Yes.
guess.
Then we cut back to more dancing in the street.
There was a lot of dancing in the streets.
Yeah, there was.
in Lederhosen,
Yes. And we see Elizabeth in her wedding dress
which is gorgeous.
with a long trail.
It's an amazing train. Yeah.
Train, whatever.
Not a trail. It's a train. Yes.
And she comes to see Henry. Elizabeth is worried that the doctor has not arrived yet. Where could he be, Karen?
Well, Henry says he's always late to things, which scientists generally are. Can't pry them out of their experiments.
And then Victor arrives because apparently
She's
he's late
just-
too. Nobody cares if Victor's late.
right. She's very anxious. She's something's coming. She can sense it,
Then Victor arrives and tells Henry that the doctor has been murdered.
which I don't know how he knew that, but
Don't either. And Henry asks about the monster. And Victor says that he has been seen in the hills. Then they hear groans.
your grunts. Yeah.
Yeah. And they decide the monster is in the house. And they begin searching. So next we see the monster lurking outside the window in Elizabeth's room. But
Yeah,
Henry
so
has locked the door. So she's locked in.
Every home in this village that the monster could go in, he picks Frankenstein's. And then he finds Elizabeth's window,
Mhm.
opens it. You're
Mhm.
right. She's locked in because Henry has locked her in to keep her safe from the monster.
Yes. But they're searching the house for the monster, and then they hear Elizabeth scream. And they all run to her room. And just as they're entering, the monster leaves through the window and leaves poor Elizabeth on the bed. But she's okay. She ain't calling or nothing.
She's sprawled on the bed, but she's
Yes.
alive.
She has lost her head dress or whatever the hell they call it.
Oh, she has lost her head dress. Considering they were looking for heads earlier, that was an interesting pause. Her veil. Yes.
And then next we see Maria's father carrying her into the town, her limp little body.
Say she did a good job. Of being
I wrote
limp.
right here, Maria is a good little actress.
Yes. I mean, she did not flinch at all.
No, that was good. And the townspeople all follow her father, and they go to see the Burgermeister. And the Burgermeister, or the Burgermeister, says that he will see that justice is done.
Well, the father says that the daughter has
Drowned.
and
She's
the
murdered. That's what he says.
Burgermeister says, "Why did you bring her here?" And he says, "Because she's murdered." And then everybody just gets all riled up.
Yep.
He wasn't there. How does he know she was murdered? She could have just fallen in the lake. But everybody
Well, no.
gets whipped into a frenzy.
As they do, as an angry mob does.
True.
Then Henry tells Victor he must destroy the monster, and he leaves Elizabeth in Victor's care.
Totally in Victor's care. He emphasizes.
Yeah, I think they should have expanded that more. I think they should have explored that relationship more. But they don't.
Sequel.
The Burgermeister forms 3 groups to search the area for the monster. And I wrote pitchfork, torches, and dogs.
Well, the
Angry
woods,
townspeople.
the woods, the mountains, and the lake.
Yes.
Those are the 3.
But the women folk and children all stay behind, Karen.
Right. So no one's protecting the village.
The women folk and the children.
Okay. With no torches or pitchforks.
And
Yeah,
they search for the monster. The monster appears to be in the mountains where Henry, Frankenstein's group, is searching.
And
here's-
conveniently, he gets separated from the crowd.
Yes, but here's where I wrote, you can see the wrinkles in the backdrops.
You can.
They weren't exactly pulled taut. Yes, Henry separates from the rest of the group and he finds the monster in the mountains.
Behind a rock.
Yes. The monster knocks Henry unconscious and picks him up to carry him away. And then, Karen, they release the hounds. And the monster carries Henry up to the windmill. Didn't the Baron say that Henry was living in a windmill earlier?
Yeah, that was weird. But I guess it's just
It's
a
obviously
random
not this one
windmill.
because this one is wood and Henry's place was obviously stone.
Right. At first, that's where I thought he went. At first, I thought they went back to the lab, but then it was obvious it was not the same place and it was all wooden.
So Henry wakes up Karen and he tries to get away. But the monster grabs him and throws him off the windmill.
Well, he throws a doll off the.
I think he gone. That's what I wrote.
Well, he lands on the. What is that called? The thing that goes around and round. But he lands on one of the flag-like things and then bounces off of that and hits the ground. But he's not gone.
Well, the villagers all come and like, well, let's take him. Whatever. They decide to take him away. But he looked like he was gone when he was like a dummy flailing in the air and falling to the ground and bouncing or whatever. And then the villagers set fire to the windmill. A beam falls in the fire and traps the monster.
It's a very sad scene. He can act pretty well without saying anything.
Yeah. Well, they make you have sympathy for the monster, right?
They do.
When he's like with little Maria with flowers and seems like a child. And
yeah, but then he kills her. But then you're still.
But he doesn't know any better.
Right. He doesn't. But I just wrote, hopefully smoke inhalation gets him first. So he doesn't have to die by burning.
And then we're back at the Baron's house. And the house staff bring wine for Henry. Apparently he isn't gone yet, I wrote. Then
no, he's with Elizabeth.
Yes. And then the Baron says Henry doesn't need that. And he takes it and makes another toast to the son of the house of Frankenstein.
Yep.
And then the end, Karen. And more credits. Is that what happens? Because I stopped it right there.
Yes, more credits where Boris gets
credit
his due. Yeah, as the monster.
Okay, good for Boris. Happy birthday, Boris. All right, Karen. Anything you were pleasantly surprised by in this film?
Well, I think rather than do that, I'm going to tell you something about the two films.
Okay.
Because we've watched Curse of Frankenstein.
Are you going to compare and contrast?
A little bit. But what I'm going to say is I think that Peter Cushing was a better Dr. Frankenstein.
Well, it depends on which story you're telling. Because these are like two different stories.
They are two different stories, but I thought his portrayal, where he was less caring and more of a sociopath, was much more terrifying than this Frankenstein. So Dr. Frankenstein. So you're right. It could just be the way it was written, because this Frankenstein in this movie had a lot more remorse.
Yeah. He's almost a sympathetic character. Right.
Right. But he had remorse that he shouldn't have done it. And that's a little bit more like the book, I think. But I thought that Peter Cushing's Frankenstein, who showed very little emotion, was much more terrifying. It was just a difference that I saw between the two.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree.
I just thought that this Dr. Frankenstein compared to that Frankenstein almost seemed weak. Just not.
Well, in this one, I think the villain is the monster, and in the other one, I think it's more the doctor.
But you do feel sympathy for the monster in this one too.
It's true.
I mean, there's almost no villain exactly that you really don't like, whereas in the other one, you really don't like Frankenstein because he's off the rails. This one,
or you might like him.
Well. True.
You might admire him for his, doing what needs to be done.
I thought that one was scarier because of that. This one was more a tale of morality, which I get, and that's a different approach. The previous one we watched, I thought was a little scarier, psychologically scarier.
Not reading the book, I would guess that this one is more true to the novel, even though it was based on a play, just like the Dracula film was. Based on a play, based on the novel, right?
Yes. And I think I liked the way the monster looked in this one better than the one we watched before.
I don't know why he has the bolt in his neck, though.
Well, that's to get the joules, the amps.
But I never saw any wires or anything connected to the bolts in his neck.
They didn't really show us much in the way of the way it worked. But you assume he needs some.
Yeah, I think the way they brought him back to life was pretty anticlimactic in this one.
Well, it was 1931. So,
Just saying.
I just like this monster better. So there were things that this one I liked better and things in the other one I liked better, depending. But
well, the other one was in color, Karen.
True. But I'd never seen this one, and I thought I had.
I hadn't either. We should be ashamed that we were
I
saying
know,
that.
I know. But I would have
We have
told you
zero
that
credibility.
Well, that's why we're watching them all now.
I've never sat down and watched the whole thing, you know?
I've seen the windmill scene. I'd seen bits and pieces, but I had not seen the whole thing.
But, you know, of course, it's not a vampire, so, you know, it's not cool
Right.
anyway.
So it was interesting.
We
to
each
see
have
the
our
different
things,
stories.
I think, you know?
Well, everybody does.
Yeah.
But I think when you think of Frankenstein, most people think of this Frankenstein movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, this monster more than any other. So I think it's important that we did see it. I think it's a little slower moving than The Curse of Frankenstein, you know, a little bit.
I don't think we have to wait 50 minutes to see the monster in this one.
True.
But is the monster in this one really the monster? Is it, you know, in
Right.
the other one, is the monster really Victor Frankenstein?
Like I said, I think this one is more a tale of morality. I mean, they both are, but this doctor feels that he should not have done what he did.
Yeah, he has
Curse of
remorse.
Frankenstein. That dude's going to do it 6 more times.
Yes, he's going to bring that creature back to life as many times as it takes to get it right.
Yes.
This one is ready to kill it.
And be done and never do it again. Yes.
I don't know if he would. I don't know that he wouldn't start over.
I don't think so.
Trying to improve upon his mistakes.
Because he kept saying, it's all my fault. I shouldn't have done it. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's in the back of his head. How far he came and how close he came. If only that fucking Fritz wouldn't have dropped the glass jar with the good brain. It might have been a completely different story.
That's true. Both of the stories had a bad brain.
Right. Anything you were disappointed in?
I mean, there were little things like you mentioned. The backdrops were wrinkly, and
right. And I kind of looked for mics and scenes, but I didn't see any of that shit. It was pretty well done. Other than that, and the sets were very good.
I did like the sets, and I liked the clothes. There was a little bit.
What about the shoes, Karen? Did you notice?
They didn't show the shoes. They didn't. The dresses were all long, most of them.
Elizabeth did have nice dresses. I will say that.
She did. She had a nice wardrobe. There were some of the parts where I guess they needed to keep showing the village so that you could see where the mob was coming from. But there were some extended lederhosen dance scenes that I didn't really get why they were so long.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like 3 or 4 minutes long of people just dancing around. I guess beer, you know.
Beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because beer.
Yeah, makes sense to me. I don't even know if they were authentic German dances, but they were dancing, holding hands, doing ring around the rosy and all that shit.
Looked like a little bit of a polka-like thing.
Yeah, I can't really find much to be disappointed in.
No, I think it was exactly kind of what you expect it to be.
Even the backdrops, I mean, they were well done, even if they weren't pulled taut. Right.
It's hard to do sometimes. Those things are, sometimes you just get wrinkles you can't get out of them.
All right, Karen, what cocktail rating are we giving this film? How many cocktails did it take you to get through it?
Would we give the other one 3?
We gave the other one 3.
It's a 3 for me.
You think this is a 3 compared to the last one, the other one?
Well, they're just different. You think this one's better?
I think this one is better.
All right, we can give it a 2.
Right, 2.
I mean, it's borderline. I would give the other one a 3. I'd give this one 2.5. But since we don't give halves, we'll do 2. Yeah. You know, this one is
give the other one 2.5 and give this one 2, whatever. But the other one wasn't bad. It's just different, right?
It was different.
And I kind of enjoyed it. It was different. It was a different take on it.
True, but this is the classic. This is the one you should start with and see, and then watch all of the others, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I even think Boris Karloff is very good in this.
I agree.
The way he uses his body and
right
leans in. as he's walking, I noticed, and things like that.
And I don't know if it was his eyes or what, but you could definitely tell what emotion he was feeling, especially fear, when he was in the fire and around the torches. And I really thought he was impressive with no lines.
Yep, I agree. We're giving this one 2 cocktails. All right, Karen, what'd you think of your cocktail that you chose for this film?
I think it's refreshing.
It is refreshing, oddly enough.
Maybe a bit summery.
I know, oddly enough, even though I'm not really like a bourbon guy. Like usually when we have bourbon drinks, it hits me really, up front. This one does not.
No, it's a nice mix. I don't know, because it's called the lightning bolt, if it's, a spring, like April showers or whatever, but it feels summery to me. It's not something that I would say, oh, let's serve this at my Halloween party. This is like, let's take this on a picnic.
It's good. It would be good.
It is
way,
good.
But it is mostly mixer. It's mostly the citrus soda.
Well, but you can always add more if you want to,
More bourbon
or more amaretto.
Amaretto. Yeah, I might try it with more amaretto.
It's a nice mix. Nothing is so forward in the drink that it takes over. I don't think. I think it's works
tart.
well.
It's tart, but yeah.
Well, I made my own sour mix, so I'm not sure mine's.
Oh, I forgot about the sour mix. That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's a lot better than the last drink, Karen.
The last drink was a little alcohol forward.
A little boozy.
Yeah. And, sometimes that's what you're looking for.
Sometimes
when you have a day, that's what you need. Sometimes when you just.
Preaching to the choir, Karen. Hallelujah.
This I would put in a tall glass, put a straw in it, sit by the pool and read a book.
With your big hat on.
With my big hat so that no sun reaches my pale, pale face.
All right. Works for me. Anything we learned today?
Well, what did we learn today, Greg?
Shit, I don't know. We learned about dogs.
Boars.
What else? Volts and joules and amps. And
lightning amps. We learned
electricity.
Where are you going to go to build your Frankenstein?
I'm going to Goldstadt Medical College.
No, you're going to Singapore.
Oh yeah, Singapore, because that's where
the highest rate of lightning.
The lightning happens.
Yes.
I wonder what the average elevation in Singapore is. Think that has anything to do with it?
I don't know. You can look that up while I tell you that
I'm not.
We learned that a typical lightning flash is about 300 million volts.
It's a lot of volts.
And 30,000 amps.
And that's a lot of amps. And it's the
and
amps
a billion
that kill
joules. So yeah, we've learned some stuff today.
Never forget, it's the amps that kill you.
Doesn't matter. Once you stick the fork in the socket, you're gone. It doesn't matter if it's the amps or the volts.
But it's the amps that will kill you. But being a home haunter as I am, need to know things about volts and amps.
Agreed. So what's up next?
Oh, yeah. Next movie, Karen.
Yeah. What do you got?
Is it my choice?
Yes, it is.
All right, Karen. So the next episode goes live on Wednesday, December 1st. Can you believe December already?
No.
God, I heard fucking Christmas music today on TV.
Oh my God, it's been out for weeks and weeks. Some of it was out before Halloween. I was not happy.
Yes. So next episode, Karen, we're watching Krampus.
Which I know you've seen.
I saw it in the theater.
When did it come out?
The 2015 film, Krampus. It's classified as a horror comedy, apparently. Yeah, but 2015. It's from the same director who did Trick or Treat, Karen.
Okay.
Written and directed by the same person, Michael Dougherty. Have you ever seen it?
Nope. Am I in for a treat?
No. We'll see. It's December. We have to do December films, right? And this was the top of my list. You know what I mean?
Well, we'll see what happens. What's the drink that you've selected?
A drink? Do I have a drink? I do have a drink, Karen. It's called the Krampus Cocktail.
What's in it?
We're going to need blackberries.
Are they in season now? Can we get them?
I don't know, but we're going to need them because we're going to need to muddle them.
Ooh, we're good muddlers.
Yeah, we are. We're fucking awesome muddlers. We muddle like nobody's business. We're going to need vanilla vodka. We're going to need cranberry sparkling apple cider.
Oh, yeah. Cranberry sparkling apple cider. That's going to be a tough
in
one.
season.
Yeah, but cranberry sparkling apple cider or sparkling cranberry apple cider?
Cranberry sparkling apple cider is what the recipe calls for. And Everclear.
Oh, that's pure. Is that pure grain?
Apparently they make it in a couple different proofs. So you can either get the 151 or the 190 or something like that. So 190 is almost pure grain alcohol.
Can you find it in local?
Yeah. You can find it. Most liquor stores have it. And that you just top it off to ignite it.
Oh, it's just to burn it. So I may not do that.
This is a burning shot, I would say, more or less. It's a fiery shot.
But there's a mixer in it. There's sparkling.
No, you're putting it in a shot glass, or
okay.
We'll see how it goes. It'll be awesome, I'm sure.
I'm sure it will.
Hopefully it ignites on the YouTubes when I do it.
Unlike the last one.
Yes. All right, Karen, anyone you need to thank?
Well, last time.
We have 19 reviews on Apple Podcast. I looked at that today. I was kind of shocked.
I think it's been 19 for a while.
Okay.
But we should thank all 19 of you for doing that. But I was going to say that when I thanked the Instagram followers last time, we were at 200. We're now at 250.
Ooh.
So now I can thank 250 people for following us on Instagram. We truly appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks, Instagram followers.
Not to slight those 19 Apple reviewers, because that actually takes a little more effort.
But we didn't have 19 written reviews. We had 19 people give us a star review. Not all 19 left a written review.
I don't care.
So there are some slackers out there, Karen.
But imagine if we could get to 25 Apple reviews.
Oh, imagine what could happen.
Woo! I mean, we should have at least one review for the number of podcasts that we have. And how many? What are we on? Is this 30?
I think last week was 30. Yeah, this is 30, or this is 31. Next week will be 32.
Thank you for clearing that up.
And the
for
week
me.
after that will be 33, Karen.
So we barely have more than half the number of reviews that we have podcasts. So,
well, I need to thank Verse 13, as always, for letting us use their music in the podcast.
definitely makes us better.
And I really do like their music. Otherwise, I wouldn't use it.
It's calming in a creepy way.
Yes.
I wonder if that's what they're going for.
Maybe we can ask them one day. Anything else, Karen?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Oh, we should say Happy Thanksgiving.
I think you just did.
Hey, it's Karen, and I'm here to talk to you about getting social with us. Did you know you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast? Or check out our website, scaryspirits.com. If you have something to say, email us at info@scaryspirits.com. And as always, thanks so much for listening. Please drink responsibly.